ACC Championship game Saturday night, uh, neutral field, Bank of America Stadium, Charlotte, North Carolina, Louisville, and Florida State. And at the time of this recording, it's about impossible to go ahead and give a thorough handicap with any conviction due to the status of the Florida State quarterback situation right now. I mean, if Tate Rodemaker can't go, if he's not cleared from concussion protocol, you're basically staring at a starting quarterback for the Seminoles of either true freshman Brock Glenn, who has played 3 games this season, thrown 4 passes, completed 2 for 35 yards, run the ball 6 times for 37 yards, all in mop up duty, of course. Or you can get junior Deuce Spann, who's played in 7 games, appeared in 7 games, 1 pass completion on 1 pass attempt to run the ball 3 times for 17 yards. You just don't want to go into an ACC championship game in this fashion for your offense. It's going to be very, very difficult if Rodemaker can't go here. At least with Rodemaker, he's had the better part of 2 full games now. Came in relief in the North Alabama game when Jordan Travis got hurt, and then of course started last week against Florida, which actually, tell you the truth, against an in-state rival in the position he was in, that's a good win for Tate Rodemaker. And his statistics: 25 of 48, 351, couple of touchdowns with no INTs so far on the field. Really good in these last 2 games. And Florida State, with Rodemaker being much more of a passer than a runner, Jordan Travis gives you the element of quarterback run, but Rodemaker doesn't necessarily have that. But still, with the receiving core that Florida State has, if he's the quarterback, this price is probably way too short in this particular game. However, you could expect this thing to move even further if, in fact, between now and game time, it's announced that Tate Rodemaker can't play in this game. So, interesting scenario here. Really hard to go ahead and give a firm opinion on which way I would look. But let's look at if Rodemaker were to go, right? And let's look at the Louisville side real quick here. Jeff Brom, obviously an aggressive play calling head coach. It is somewhat surprising that this year he's gone 57% run as far as his play calling is concerned, 42.3% pass, almost 58% run. But again, he's got explosive weapons in the backfield, on the outside. It's just quarterback Jack Plummer that against a defense like Florida State, I might not trust as much. Jack Plummer, I think when Brom is able to get a quarterback in the system with more ability, that they'll be an extremely difficult team. But right now, I'm not so sure with Plummer against this type of defense. For Louisville to be successful here, they'll have to run. And Florida State's got a really good run defense. So the question is, can they run? And if they can't, will the pass be successful off of that? So there's some ways here for FSU to actually win the game without either of their top 2 quarterbacks, but it'll be an extremely tough road here. I think for Florida State, obviously the mission is to get into this college football playoff Final Four. And to tell you the truth, any victory in this game with a third string quarterback would probably get them there. 13-0 with a third string quarterback winning the ACC championship. They'd probably have to be allowed in. But again, going to be very, very difficult here. I think Louisville brings a defense to the table that can certainly shut Florida State down if Rodemaker doesn't go. Louisville's been good at pressuring the passer. Louisville's been good in run defense in a lot of their games this year. Again, both of these teams, for the most part, are in somewhat of a step up in class. If you just think back to when Florida State played LSU, which I'll use as an example just because Louisville's got that type of explosive offense, not necessarily LSU, but they do have explosiveness and balance. Florida State got lit up a little bit, but I think they've come a long way since then. For me, I would have to look at this game from an under perspective. And a colleague of ours at Wager Talk, Ralph Michaels, I think had the best look of all in this game, which would be first half under. It continues to come down a little bit because of the Rodemaker news. I think the full game total is 46.5, and you may be staring at 23.5 or 24, probably 23.5 as far as first half is concerned. But I don't think there's any way Florida State could get out to a hot start if they don't have one Rodemaker in there. And I'm not so sure that their defense can't pick up all the slack and stop Louisville as well. So, like I say, the timing here is a little rough to make a firm pick, but if I were to bet it right now, I'd probably bet first half under in the ACC Championship between Louisville and Florida State.
Steve Merrill here breaking down the ACC Championship game on Saturday night in Charlotte, North Carolina. Look, this is a difficult handicap to say the least because Florida State, without their star quarterback, offensive player of the year, now the backup Rodemaker's out, are questionable at least as well. And we saw this line move. I did my top 25 video on Thursday afternoon, and 1 hour after I recorded that, news broke on the quarterback situation, maybe looking at a third string freshman now as the starter. And because of that, this line dropped right after I did that video as well on Thursday. So I wanted to come back here on Friday with a little bit of an update. As I mentioned in my college football top 25 video here on Wager Talk TV, my mathematical database simulation on average had Florida State winning this game by about 3.5 points. But that does not incorporate the injury situation. That's something I do on the side. This is just a starting point, and those ratings would be a lot lower. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if I was to incorporate the backups that Louisville went off as the favorite in this game. We've seen this line drop now from what was 2.5 yesterday on Thursday down to 1.5, even some ones out there. Total has really crashed down. Was in the low 50s. Was 47.5 yesterday, now 46.5. So it could be a challenge for Florida State, but once again, we never know what a freshman could do. This is obviously still a highly touted recruit. Florida State gets the best of the best for the most part. And the Glenn experiment was short lived last week. Rodemaker came right back in after that jarring 15 yard personal foul penalty that knocked him out for a play or two. So we really don't know what the true freshman Glenn has. This is Brock Glenn I'm talking about, by the way, the third stringer. And of course, offensive player of the year, Travis Jordan, is out. So this is a tough handicap, and it's a game I'll be staying away from most likely for that reason. You could perhaps take an in-game approach, see what the quarterback situation looks like. That's the beauty of the new modern age of sports betting, is that you can play throughout the game and take an adjusted price. You can see what the quarterback looks like, what the situation looks like. So I don't think this is necessarily a pre-snap play, but maybe an in-game play in this one as well. But the other big picture thing I want to touch on, and comment below, by the way, we read all the comments. I read all the comments. I reply back. Does Florida State deserve to get in if they win? And here's the thing. Obviously, if they win the game, it's with the backup quarterback. That's impressive. But are they still really one of the four best teams in the country with the backup quarterback? Definitely not. In fact, I don't even think with the All ACC Player of the Year at quarterback, they're one of the best four teams. The Washington Oregon situation is going to solve itself on Friday night. The winner will be in, the loser will be out. Michigan should win as a 3 touchdown favorite. Georgia, win or lose against Bama, probably deserves to stay in. So for some of those other one-loss teams to jump up here, they need Florida State to go down. But the question becomes, if Florida State wins and goes undefeated, do they still stay in the top four? I think they likely do, the way the playoff committee works. I don't think they deserve to. Also didn't think TCU deserved to be in the Final Four last year. I was very vocal about that, and I think I was proven right with that championship game debacle against Georgia. Comment below. Let us know your thoughts. Does Florida State undefeated deserve to be in there with it possibly a third-string freshman quarterback? A very interesting take. Maybe not the best game to be involved in, but definitely one of the most important games this weekend on Saturday night.